Welcome back to Halo Canon. Since its launch in late 2010, Halo Reach has caused an uproar among fans. Is it canon? How does it fit in with the events of the book? Why didn't it follow the events of the book? Any fan with common sense and deductive reasoning can answer any of these questions, though here I will address the first two. Hint: the reason Bungie did not follow the book is because it only covers the last 3 hours of the Battle of Reach and the story already exists in the book. Why retell the same story twice? That's stupid. It is an undeniable fact that Halo Reach is canon, but the question remains of how it fits in with the events of Halo, the Fall of Reach, and the early sections of Halo First Strike. One reason for this lingering question relates to the fact that the timestamps in Halo Reach use what I have come to call Reach Standard Time, while the dates remain based on the UNSC military calendar. In addition, Reach uses a 27-hour clock as opposed to the UNSC standard 24-hour clock used in the books. After much trial and error, I would like to present my interpretation of the events in the Battle of Reach as I believe they occurred. Starting at July 18th, each date will be presented, followed by the time as it appears on the military calendar and how it would appear on the Reach calendar. Due to Reach's 27-hour day, the difference in times will not be consistent. Nevertheless, the events do take place in order, and while the times may not be spot on, the dates and order of events are. I will present my sources and annotations throughout the video and provide links where possible, so sit back and enjoy the ride. July 18th, 2300 hours, military time. In the aftermath of the Battle of Sigma Octantis IV, Admiral Michael Stanforth contacts the head of ONI, Admiral Margaret Parangosky. He talks about the narrow victory at Sigma Octantis IV and the discovery of non-Covenant alien artifacts, much like the ones found in Onyx, Arcadia, and Reach. July 19th, 0325 hours, military time. Parangosky responds to Stanforth and brings up concerns about the possibility of Reach being targeted by the Covenant in the coming months. She brings up Operation Red Flag. July 23rd, 1600 hours military time, 2600 hours Reach. Contact with Visegrad relay is lost. The relay, one of Reach's 3 primary communication relays, has been taken out, cutting off Reach from the rest of the UNSC. 1615 hours military time, 2615 Reach. Fireteam 3 Charlie and other Spec War fire teams are deployed to Visegrad to investigate the communications blackout under the command of Colonel Holland. July 24th, 0028 hours military time, 0728 Reach. Noble Team is joined by a new member, codenamed Noble 6. Colonel Holland, after no success with the fire teams, deploys Spartan Team Noble to Visegrad. Not long after arriving, Noble engages Covenant forces. After discovering the remaining forces of 3 Charlie, Noble deploys to the relay, only to find itself under fire. After brief engagements with local Covenant forces, Noble is able to establish fragile contact with Colonel Holland and warn him of the Covenant presence. Winter contingency is declared. Due to the severe plasma damage to the relay technical components, the relay would not be repaired for at least 2 weeks, and most of Reach and the UNSC would remain unaware of the danger present on Reach for some time. July 26, 1026 hours military time, 1126 Reach. Noble Team is deployed to ONI Sword Base to take care of Covenant forces and a Covenant Corvette attacking the site. Due to the sensitive nature of this site, orbital defenses cannot be used until the Corvette is far enough away. Noble Team is sent in to secure the base and surrounding outposts. After ground and air support are taken out, Longswords push the Covenant Corvette to a safe distance where it can be taken out by an orbital mech. After the battle, Noble debriefs Dr. Halsey about the events at Visegrad and returns a data module found at the relay. August 1st, 0250 hours military time, 1250 Reach. Admiral Stanforth returns to Reach with some of the battle group from Sigma Octantis IV, the rest staying behind in case more Covenants show up. He contacts Parangosky and raises concerns about the use of Reach for Operation Red Flag. Nevertheless, he forwards the specs and recommendations for Red Flag. August 11th, 1930 hours, 2630 Reach. Noble 3 and Noble 6 infiltrate a Covenant-controlled dark zone, discovering a large Covenant invasion force. August 12th, 0400 hours military time, 0800 hours Reach. Noble Team and the UNSC Army launch a counterattack on the bulk of the Covenant invasion force that Nobles 3 and 6 had discovered the night before. Smaller invasion forces are fought off across the Vieri territory. Most of Reach and the UNSC would be kept in the dark about the Covenant presence on Reach under the winter contingency. After taking out local anti-air batteries, Nobles 5 and 6 push to a Covenant spire meant to ferry troops to the surface. The Spire is covered by an energy shield that prevents its destruction. Once the shield is deactivated, UNSC frigate Grafton is sent in to take out the Spire. Almost immediately, the Grafton is destroyed by the Covenant's supercarrier that was being cloaked by the Spires. $1,100 military time, 1,500 hours Reach. John 117, unaware of the Covenant presence on Reach, arrives at Camp Hathcock to be debriefed on the events of Sigma Octantis 4. He briefly runs into Captain Keyes and Dr. Halsey. August 13th, 1907 hours military time, 2007 hours Reach. Noble 2, Cat, discusses a plan to rig a slipspace drive to take out the Covenant supercarrier above Reach. Her plan is to use the top-secret Sabre program, of which Noble 6 was a test pilot, to get the Spartans into orbit to deliver the bomb. Carter A259 contacts Colonel Holland about the plan, to which he agrees. August 14th, 1448 hours, military time, 1248, Reach. Noble Team arrives at the Sabre launch facility. After retaking the facility, Nobles 5 and 6 launch into space and join Operation Uppercut. With the support of the UNSC Savannah, the Sabre squads are able to take over a Covenant corvette and lock it on a refueling track with the supercarrier. Unfortunately, Noble 5 must sacrifice himself to initiate the slipspace bomb. George 052 dies, thinking he had just saved Reach. However, just moments later, a Covenant support fleet arrives at Reach. They eventually make it past orbital defenses and start attacking major population centers in the northern VRE territory. August 23rd, 1734 hours military time, 1534, Reach. Noble 6 arrives in New Alexandria 5 days after the Covenant started attacking the city. 6 helps Army forces fight off invasion forces and a Covenant corvette above the city. Thanks to Noble 6's intervention, most of the civilian population was evacuated safely. 2057 hours military time, 1857, Reach. Noble 6 meets up with Noble 1 and is directed to help UNSC forces evacuate from New Alexandria. 6 is successful with the guidance of Noble 2. Around this time, other Spartan 3 teams, codenamed Gauntlet, Red, and Echo, are deployed for civilian evacuation operations. After completing the evacuation, Noble 6 is reunited with the rest of Noble Team, just as the Covenant begin glassing the city. The radiation flare causes the shielding systems on Noble Team's Mjolnir armor to malfunction, allowing a Sangheili Field Marshal to snipe Noble 2 with a needle rifle. The remnants of Noble Team and other survivors retreat to a fallout shelter. August 25th, 019 hours military time, 0115 Reach. Cortana and Dr. Halsey discuss various specifics of Operation Red Flag, including which Spartan 2 Cortana chooses to carry her. August 26th, 1400 hours military time, 0300 hours Reach. The remnants of Noble Team are extracted from New Alexandria. August 27th, 0800 hours military time, 2100 hours Reach. Dr. Halsey and Captain Keyes debrief 25 of the 28 remaining Spartans on Operation Red Flag. August 29th, 0600 hours military time, 1300 hours Reach. John 117 arrives at Camp Hathcock. He receives an upgrade to a standard neural implant. Approximately 0900 hours military time, 1600 hours Reach. Mjolnir AI integration field test begins. 1916 hours military time, 2616 Reach. Noble Team, backed up by ODSTs, begins a push to infiltrate ONI's sword base. August 30th, 2552. The fall of Reach. 0400 hours military time, 0800 hours Reach. UNSC Pillar of Autumn is undergoing its final shakedown. Captain Keyes begins a tour of the ship and orders it on an outbound vector from Reach. Meanwhile, Cortana gets some revenge on Colonel Ackerson for his actions toward the Chief and herself, while simultaneously slipping into ONI systems to get John 117's full CVS. 0414 hours military time, 0814 Reach. ONI Section 3 captures a series of conversations from the Pillar of Autumn's crew. 0447 hours military time, 0847 Reach. Remote scanning outpost Fermion detects an incoming Covenant fleet and informs FleetCom. They self-destruct due to an unsecure science library and the closing Covenant forces. Approximately 0500 hours military time, 0900 hours Reach. The Covenant fleet of particular justice arrives at Reach. Noble Team fights off a small Covenant force and makes contact with Dr. Halsey on his sword base. Noble 6 is given a fragment of the AI Cortana that had stayed on Reach to study Forerunner artifacts. 6 then leaves with Nobles 1 and 4 to head to the shipbreaking yards in Azad. Noble 3 escorts Dr. Halsey to ONI Castle Base. 05:17 hours military time, 09:17 Reach. Admiral Roland Fremont issues a general order to all ships near the Jericho, Tantalus, and Reach systems to initiate the Cole Protocol. 05:19 hours military time, 09:19 Reach. The Pillar of Autumn turns around and heads back to Reach. Captain Keyes informs the Spartans of the Covenant's attack on Reach. 05:58 hours military time, 09:58 Reach. Station Gamma Dockmaster AI Doppler is unable to implement the Cole Protocol on UNSC Circumference due to measures taken to ensure the secrecy of Operation Hypodermic. Doppler sends a priority message to FleetCom. The Covenant detects the error and deploys troops to recover the nav data. 06:16 hours military time, 10:16 hours Reach. John 117 leads Linda 058 and James 005, Blue Team, to Gamma Station to wipe the nav data from the circumference. The remaining Spartans comprise Red Team, who are sent down to Reach's surface to protect the orbital defense generators. 06:31 hours military time, 10:31 Reach. Red Team's Pelican is shot down. The Spartans jump from the Pelican and make a hard landing. This results in 4 Spartans dead and 6 seriously injured. 06:37 hours military time, 10:37 Reach. John 117, a clinically dead Linda 058, and surviving Marines from the circumference board the Pillar of Autumn. 06:47 hours military time, 10:47 Reach. Captain Keyes orders the Autumn to leave the system. Just before he leaves, a message from Halsey comes through, telling Keyes of Noble Team and the Cortana fragment. Keyes orders the Autumn to land in the shipbreaking yards in Azad, using the opportunity to make minor repairs to his ship. 06:49 hours military time, 10:49 Reach. Team Beta Red, comprised of 6 Spartans, sets up defense around ODG Facility A331. 07:11 hours military time, 11:11 Reach. Team Alpha Red sends a nuclear bomb of the gravity lift of a Covenant cruiser. Joshua 029 is lost during the mission. Team Delta Red secures a fallback point at Castle Base. Team Gamma Red rescues Vice Admiral Whitcomb and hole up at Camp Independence. 07:20 hours military time, 11:20 Reach. ODG A331 is destroyed by orbital bombardment and most of Beta Red is killed. 07:44 hours military time, 11:44 Reach. Remnants of Red Team minus Gamma Red retreat to Castle Base. 08:10 hours military time, 12:10 hours Reach. Red Team encounters Dr. Halsey at Castle Base. She treats the wounded Spartans and informs them about Operation White Glove. 12:52 hours military time, 16:52 Reach. The remnants of Noble Team arrive in Azad. Carter A259 tells Emil and Noble 6 to bail from the back of their damaged Pelican. Carter continues to draw the majority of Covenant air forces to himself, keeping them off Noble 4 and 6. Emil and 6 fight their way through Covenant forces until they are cut off by a Scarab. Carter sacrifices himself to allow Noble to continue their mission. After fighting their way to the Pillar of Autumn's location, Emil uses a mass driver to take out incoming air support, while Noble 6 deals with ground forces. After Noble 6 delivers the Cortana fragment to Captain Keyes, Emil is engaged by Sangheili zealots and killed. Noble 6 takes control of the mass driver, allowing the Pillar of Autumn to escape. $1,600 hours military time, 2000 hours Reach. Noble 6 is engaged by overwhelming Covenant forces and eventually killed. So in summary, Halo Reach and Halo the Fall of Reach do not fit together perfectly. Halo Reach does retcon certain events, such as when the Pillar of Autumn leaves the Epsilon Eridani system, or where Dr. Halsey is at certain times. However, the overall story of the Fall of Reach remains intact. I would like to reiterate that this timeline is not official by any means, but is built from a combination of canon sources and evidence, and a little bit of conjecture. For those who were unsure, I hope it has provided some insight into how the two stories work together. This has been Halo Canon. I'll see you next time.